Hi, this is Pauline to the Tech Model channel, where I go to the update on my Mk4 female bodybuilder with switcher, and it's gone okay so far. I mean, I can't say it was easy on the actual sponsons, and I think I must have similar problems as what switcher had. So I had to do mucking a bit of mucking out. Now I will say I didn't take paint inside the vehicle black, because once you got the sponsons on, I looked with two and I couldn't even see anything in it, so dark. So there's no light problems there, and once I've painted the outside black with the undercoat, it'll all be sorted there anyway, so you won't see anything inside anyway. Right then, so what have I done? I'll take these tracks off now because they're going to be in the way. So there we go, I'm going to put them both over there. They are right-handed, but it doesn't make them see straight away which way they go now. Now the actual mud gougers are on. Gougers are on. Right, let's pick the kit up. Here we go then. So you can see what I've done so far. Now, you can see I've got some sanding on the gun sponsons. They don't move. I've glued them in situ, and I'll explain that why later on. I just didn't want them flopping all over the place. I'd rather have them in a position that they can deal with. Now, one thing I will say is I'll explain this. A couple of bits, one broke. I'll explain more what I did to clean it. But you can see what I mean. It's all been sanded smooth. The joins are, because the three pieces make each gun shield up. And for each gun you've got three pieces, and you need the sanding at some point. So I have done that, and I'm really happy. The join looks nice, it looks all part of the vehicle, so I'm happy with that. But I'm not happy that it was such a bad join, but that's modelling. You do have problems, but it'd be nice to have things fit. This was a really tight fit as well, and it's all butt joints. These are 1, 2, 3. There's quite a few butt joints. Even the doors have to be put on. So you can see there's quite a few butt joints, and you've got to be really careful getting them lined up. The one this side, I think it is, on the inside I managed to fill a small gap that had come about purely because of the join, but you can't see it now because I filled a little bit from the inside. I mean, you can see a bit of daylight, but you can't see it now, and to be honest, once it's painted you won't notice it anyway. But it's frustrating when you have bits like that. But anyway, I'm going to put that down then. So where's my instructions? Here we go. Right, talking about the instructions, let's go back into the bit I want to talk about. Right. Where is it? Oh, here we go, yeah. Right, instructions. Now, this part 34, element 34, machine gun assembly, what it doesn't say is you need to make 4 H11s and 4 H12 sections. These two shields that go either side of the actual centre piece of the gun housing, you have to make four of each. It doesn't tell you that, so you use H11 4 times and you use H12 4 times, keeping these numbers correct for each one of them each time. It's easy to build, they're straightforward. But just remember, you've got to make 4 of them. It doesn't say make 4 here, make 4 there. Common sense would have said so. But the point is, it'd be really nice to have it there, because I had to look a couple of times to make sure that I was doing it right. Then I realised. So there you go. Another thing it says here about don't glue these bits. And I don't know if you can see that. It says don't glue. If you don't glue them, guess what? They keep falling out. So I ended up gluing them. Yep. Then what I did is, when it comes to actually making the machine gun up, and there's another thing is, I'm just going to go back to the earlier bit. Where is it? There we go. See, if I go to this bit, if I go to there, then you can see that now. Yeah, right. H2, you get 4 of those, and they're very thin in the middle where the machine comes out, very thin either side. I snapped one accidentally on my desk. Now you can't see the join where I've done it now, because I used that in a bit of Vallejo porcelain white thinner that I've showed you in the previous video to clear it. But I had to glue that, and then what I did then is I glued one piece on this bit this side, yep, and then onto the shield. Then I put the gun into place into that hole, and then I put that on this side, and then I glued that piece to that and that there. So, but the gun still went up and down. I've actually done mine so it's actually permanently fixed, so like switcher has, because it was flopping all over the place. And to be honest, these houses, when they go in, when they go into the actual sponsor that I'm going to explain in a minute, they would fall out if you just put them in the place that way you say. They'd be a bit of glue, they'd be wobbly, so I didn't want them wobbly. And I could have put a backing plate at the top, but I think that would have still prevented a bit of movement, so I went the other way and glued it in place, and I'm going to explain it when I get to it. So go very careful with H2 that circular bit where the actual machine gun goes through, that comes out through the vehicle, the actual shield it is, go very careful. They're very finicky and brittle in the middle because it's a very thin joint in the middle part of the actual shield itself. Right, over here, it has you, once you've got the shield together there, because I actually glued this shield and that shield onto that little pivot with a machine gun. And that's what I did, because it still went inside, moved up and down, so it was okay. The whole thing moved up and down. No, I didn't. No, sorry, I pushed them in there into those bits, but I did glue them eventually before I put them in place. So that bit there, I pushed them on, and then I glued H10 onto it, and then then that's when I was left with those two seams going there, because it is a butt joint again. What I will say is it tells you here H34. Put that pin in now. You glue that plate underneath to 4 little pins on the little arms up which are there. They've all got a little pin up underneath to join that plate. Very fiddly to do, but I got it in the end. But I wouldn't put that in there. If I was building one now, I wouldn't put that H34 pin in there until I got it into the turret, if I want it to be moving. I didn't want mine moving, so I actually glued H34 into the hole after I got it in situ underneath there. Because all I had to do is pivot this gun up, pop the pin in, and then glue it in place. And I'm happy with that anyway, so let's go. But so that was that. Another thing over here, it would have you place those guns glued into position there, into there, without a problem. It says put them there. Now to me, I know what I did. I actually put together the whole of the actual sponson, including as far as this bit. Whoops, take the paint. Sorry. I got to that bit there. That's it. I put this bit on the top because even with that glued in place and the sponson completely built, from the back, this side coming in this way, I can actually drop the pin in to place, put a bit of glue in there if I want to hold it. Hold it with a flat knife, one of the scalpels or any blade that's long enough, or a screwdriver. I could put it in and hold that pin in place to let it dry, and I'd have had my turret still moving and no issues. So this plate has nothing to do with stopping you getting that gun in place. That's what I'm trying to say, because I built mine up completely and then put it in. I glued mine in place because I didn't want any play or flexibility inside. And you need to glue that pin in, because if you don't, guess what? Once you've got this sponson on the tank, if you manage to do it, these guns will drop out of place and fall into the vehicle, and you'll never get them out again. So that's why I glued mine in place. But you can actually do it so they're moving. I can't say it won't work, because it will. But they'd be a bit flexible as far as I was concerned, because there was too much tolerances as far as I was concerned to get it moving without mucking about engineering some buffer plates inside, which I didn't want to do. So I've gone in this particular method, fitted them in permanently. Other than that, these bits went together reasonably well. But again, putting the sponsons to the tank was another fiddly job, trying to get them to actually in place. I clamped them a little bit in place and they stayed there and they're okay. If I did one again, I keep shaving it off until I actually got it to fit really loosely. That's what I would do. Right then, the only other thing I've got to do now is you can see the only bits I've got left over from the kit now is on the two C brackets here, and a couple of bits are there, and that's the actual unditching log or beta beam, which is made of oak, in this case plastic of course. And what I did with that is I got my trusty old scrape, I might have explained that, and scraped along there a few times to give a bit of the old things. And there's the knife in question. There you go. Use that one, and that was good. So I'm happy with that. There's the chain. It seems to be in the scale, but I'll have a look later on if it's not. I've got a couple of smaller chains in a few bags in the other room. Right, so and these bits here, so how many bits have I got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a chain, and that. So I've got 5 pieces to put on. That's it, the kit's finished then, apart from putting the tracks on. So the next time you see this kit, it will actually be sprayed in its primer black. I'm thinking of going for the dark grey, priming it with still Stein and Res, priming it all over with grey, and then use the Stein and Res black to actually pre-shade little areas of the vehicle when I'm spraying. I'm going to be going for the and I'll use the colour on this one. This is a different model. It's the Ming male version, but there you go. I'm going to be it's a better. Got a bit light on it. That's the sort of brown I'm going on. It's a Vallejo paint, funny enough, from the Ming, so I've got a Vallejo paint for the right colour because it is the same colour vehicle. Some of them were green, but mainly they was used as brown, due to the fact that when they're going across the trenches there's hardly any greenery around, and that's the reason they went for a brown colour. Evidently, I saw that in what book was it? An Osprey Vanguard, and it was this book that is on the Mark IV. There you go. Sorry about the flare up there. There it is, the Vanguard, and it's there. You go. And I don't know if you can see that. There you go. It's written by David Fletcher and illustrated by Tony Bryan. Very good book. Very interesting. There's got a few photographs there. It's worth getting if you're going to be building anything. There's another one on the Mark 1, which I've got. So that, which is quite interesting. Got the intel detail there. Gives you a good idea how to paint the inside, due to the fact that both the Mark 4, the Mark 5 and the Mark 1 and 2 had a very similar interior. The only difference is, as I was saying, thinking to myself, is when you build the Mark 5 version, you'll find that it had an increased engine. It didn't need 2 people to drive it. It only needed 1, because they changed all the linkages to the drivetrain, as it were. So that was it. And plus, if you look at the vehicle, I don't know if you can see, might be a better picture here. See if I can find one for you that's a bit better. Not really. Well, I can use that one. You can see, if I show you like that, you can see the vehicle straight away has got a larger box hatch at the back, and it goes to nearly the full width of the vehicle, and obviously the driver's hatch. But they've got hatches on the top as well, so it'll be interesting. You can see that they did come in green, but the one I'll be doing is a brown colour. There you go. So I hope that was an interesting update. Like I said, I will try and definitely get back in by the end of the week with the primer in. I've got other things to do. I've got to get started on a clock on building for a colleague who's retiring, so I need to sort that in. I've got the timber cut to size, which is good. It's all oak at the moment. So anyway, so getting back to that job, I've already done a little bit this afternoon, but anyway, regarding this then, so the next time you'll see this vehicle, it will have a primer coat of possibly dark grey, the primer stone and red grey, followed by pre-shading of black, and I'll be doing the tracks, obviously, doing them in stone and res as well. Right then, so I think that is do. And by the way, all the filling I did on this vehicle, and I will advertise it because at the end of the day I think it's a great stuff, and it's plastic putty. It's 401 and it's from Vallejo, and I like it. I still got the other ones. I've got this one here. Funny enough, I use Revel plaster, so I do use other fillers as well, but I find for very small detail, and being able to put it in there, let it dry a little bit, and then wipe it off with a damp cotton bud or a paintbrush even, which is what I did on this, in places, works really fine, really good. So anyway, Mr. Surfacer might have done it, but I've got to paint that on. But but anyway, so that's what I use for that. So without further ado, well, that's what Switcher says, so I'll use it for this time. Without further ado then, that's the end of this video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.